Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello and welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneurial Center right here in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. And today I'm very excited to invite back for the second year in a row the team with the AZ or Arizona Credit Union Week, and we have a lot of representation from different credit unions around the valley. And I want to thank Monica for getting this crew together and knowing that there's enough information here that we want to share it with our local business owners and community. And so, Monica, if you would start first by introducing yourself, the role that you have with 1AZ Credit Union, and then we'll have everybody take a turn, and we'll really get into the meat of the conversation. What's going on, and why is there this thing called AZ Credit Union Week?
Thanks, Karen, for having us here today and welcoming us back for our second AZCU week. I'm Monica Myrand. I'm the VP of Brand and Acquisition at 1AZ Credit Union.
Thank you. And you next, how about?
Hi, I'm David Kexel. I'm with Arizona Financial Credit Union, Director of Brand and Communications.
Thanks for being here. And I know by the end of this conversation, I will figure out where we've met because I just know we have at some point. How about you, Brian?
Brian Lee. I'm the President and CEO of Landings Credit Union here in Tempe, Arizona, and happy to be back.
Thanks for coming again.
Thank you.
And Mike Waldron, the Vice President of Marketing for True West Credit Union, here based in Tempe, Arizona.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to just let each of you kind of let us know what's going on. Feel free to jump in with each other and play off each other. Let's start, really with a very basic question and help our listeners and viewers understand, first of all, what is a credit union? Because not everybody may know. And how is it different from a bank? And then what's this about the organization that has come together to strengthen credit unions in Arizona? Who wants to take a stab at it first?
I like to think about credit unions as the original shared economy. We hear about, rideshare, sharing homes for rentals. Well, credit unions, really, that's how they started, was sharing resources with one another. So people who didn't have access to credit, so as communities with a common bond coming together to make loans to one another. So, that's in a nutshell, I think, what a credit union is. Anyone else want to add anything?
Agree. And we're a local institutions, so we're able to provide locally for the members that we serve, and we're not for profit. And also we serve the communities where we live and where we serve. So I think it's great just giving back to the communities and working together with these great folks in the room today.
Yeah, I think last time we were talking about, I think my credit union's the youngster in the room at 70 years. And I think we're all kind of around there.
I remember that conversation.
But yeah, we were started in 1953 here in Tempe with Tempe Schools and have grown since then. And we've all kind of grown out of our little original spots and continue to be here. And so there's not a lot of local businesses that continue to grow for that many years and decades and continue to fill a big role here in the community. So it's amazing place to be in.
Yeah, in what you see with credit unions, the biggest thing we always say with credit unions versus banks is that, when you're part of a bank, you're paying shareholders. When you're part of a credit union, it's member owned, as has been said, and all of those funds go back into the credit union. And being not for profit, as Monica said, those funds go back. We are required to invest those back into our members with lower fees, higher interest rates and dividends that come through. Lower loan rates that come through. So that's what you see as a big difference that we always say versus a big bank.
Yeah.
In the credit union community.
And so this is the second year for the Arizona Credit Union Week. How did it come to be? Why is it so important? Who's joining the bandwagon? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'd love to share the backstory of how it came. So it came from an idea of Liza. She's started this a year ago and really brought the idea of let's do something on billboards. Let's get something that's kind of fun and poke at each other and start almost like a PR stunt. And then it really turned into let's get other credit unions involved. So Landings, and then Brian was able to bring in True West too, and then just being able to grow. So it was the 4 that started last year, and then we've grown into 11 credit unions this year total, going into Tucson as well. So it's been great to see it expand.
Yeah, in what I'll jump in there and During this week of the third Thursday of October is traditionally what's known as International Credit Union Day. So the international credit unions are international all over the world, and that's a time for them to really promote the credit union effort. So when Monica's 1AZ over there called all of us to get us involved in this, we were planning just a normal social media day. But the idea that they brought to us last year was, if you look at credit unions in general and being in the community, how can we promote this as a community? Out-of-state banks contribute 70% of banking deposits in the state of Arizona come from out-of-state banks.
70%.
70%, and that all goes outside of Arizona. When you look at credit unions, especially those that are headquartered here in the area, all that money can be put back into the community. And so what Arizona Credit Union Week, not just Arizona Credit or International Credit Union Day, we could build that around the Arizona population, build that around the community, and really focus to make an awareness effort of that. So.
And it's funny, one of our guiding principles is cooperation amongst cooperatives, which we're financial cooperatives. And so that can take on different forms, and this is one way that we're showing cooperation, or sometimes we call it coopetition. We all compete with each other. We're all kind of overlapping in the same area, but you don't see this too much in other industries where we can come together and say, hey, we're just going out there and saying, hey, go join a credit union. Go check out your local credit union, instead of being saying, hey, come to Landings, come to 1AZ. It's all about the credit union movement here in Arizona.
Yeah, there's enough business to go around. So encouraging patrons to pick the one that makes the most sense and become a member. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of benefits have each of your credit unions, or even you professionally, have you been experiencing since you guys have created this organization together?
I'd say it's been really cool. I mean, it was we were talking about, it was kind of an experiment last year, and we started with 4 and say, hey, let's see if we could do this. Went really well. We had a lot of folks reach out to us, say, wow, this is kind of cool. And so as this year we said, well, let's experiment a little further. Let's invite a few more folks, and it was pretty easy to get them to say yes because they saw how cool it was last year. And so this year it's kind of building off of that, bringing off the good publicity we had, and then trying to expand during that week on what we did last year. So a lot of cool things that we have planned this year that are even bigger and better than last year.
Well, let's get to that in just a minute. But any other thoughts around how this has benefited you personally and or your credit union as a result of coming together like this?
I think it's just a matter of awareness, building awareness in the community. Because union for banking, some people don't even consider a credit union, or we think, oh, that's a place I go to get my car loan. And credit unions really have a full range of services. Whatever you could find at a bank, you can typically find, at a credit union. And really speaking to your small business audience, a lot of the credit unions also have a full suite of business services. So it's also a great place to consider. For example, Arizona Financial, we do SBA loans. We have treasury management services. So again, what you might find at a big bank, you can find at your local credit union.
Mm-hmm. I was at the Local First event. Monica and I were chatting about this last night at the Phoenix Art Museum, and one of the gals I was talking to while we were networking was representing a credit union. I apologize, I can't remember which one, but I do have her card to follow up. And she was saying that her job is out in the community. She is remote. She moves around all the time. She comes to the business owners to create and establish those relationships and keep them going. So I love that you spoke to that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all these local small businesses in Arizona. Why not partner with a local credit union, keep the money circulating in our economy?
I don't think we can underemphasize that. Overemphasize that. I think that really has to be stated. You mentioned 70% of that money is going into the larger that are international or national and leaving Arizona. Again, as I know you all are involved in Arizona, Local First Arizona, and that's the message that they sing loud and clear. Like, let's band together and keep that money local. So great. Any other benefits or thoughts around how it has positively been impacting you and your organizational specifically?
I'd like to share too, from a collaboration standpoint, we all came together and we all shaped what this week is going to look like. So really tying it around being local, having the members in mind, and also how do we work together? Because every credit union is pulling different pieces to make this happen. and then also getting outside resources from like State 48 helping us with the t-shirts, but then also local businesses that are donating to us to in kind, and then also Visa coming to help sponsor. So been really great to be able to bring all these resources and everyone together.
Love the shout out for State 48. Obviously, you're all representing with those super cool shirts, and Visa is involved as well.
Correct.
So, you want to speak to that partnership?
I'm going to bring this to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year that was one of the folks that reached out after we did this last year, and we kind of just came together last year, didn't look for sponsorships put together, and so Visa called us up last year, and they work with a lot of community financial institutions, and they said, hey, what can we do to get involved? And so we've got some great support from them as well, and supporting us and sponsoring different events and different things that we're doing with financial education. And so it's really cool to kind of expand from there as well and say, hey, not only us credit unions, but we have other business partners that we work with every day. They're saying, hey, how do we help you? And they don't even care if I mention their name on there. They're not saying, hey, mention us 5 times on this. And so it's really cool to see that. And they just say, hey, better you do, the better it is for all of us and our whole system. So
How exciting is it that you have already created such commotion with this idea in just a year that now folks are coming to you and saying, how can we help? Like, what do you need from us? That's, you know, you're doing good things in the world when that's what's happening. Very good. So let's turn our attention to this week that's coming up. Remind our listeners and viewers when it is again, where they will come and participate, and then what's in store.
Well, I guess I'll start because last year what we did is we had a very short time frame to get this involved
Yeah,
last year.
remember-
It was
I
within
remember.
60 days,
60
even
days?
even
Let's
even
do
less than that.
this.
And said, let's do this. And we got together and we said, well, what are we going to do? And the obvious solution was, yes, we can get the message out on social media. But then what we wanted to do is try to do a highlight of a day, something that would be out in the community and do something together. What we did is what we're going to actually start off this year. The first day that we're of our week, and I'll handle that first day because I've been running through it, is a pay it forward day. And what this is last year what we did is we selected around 8, or yeah, it was about 8 credit unions, owned businesses. And we said, hey, we're going to come out to your location, restaurants, coffee shops, and for about 2 hours, maybe around lunchtime, what we're going to do is we're going to be dressed in these shirts, and we are going to surprise and delight the patrons that come to your business. What we're going to do is somebody will come up to pay for their food, and we're going to say, hey, hold on, we as a credit union, we're going to pay that for you for today. So this year we've got, we're going from 4 to 11 credit unions now, and we are going to be around the Phoenix area, Tucson area, out in West
Lake
West
Havasu.
Arizona,
Mhm.
Lake Havasu, that same thing for that day. So we are going to be out on social media. We're not going to announce who we're going to be at just yet.
I remember that from last year too. You're like, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, but we are going to. We've met with these business owners, and they are on board, and they are excited to have these patrons come in, and we're going to surprise and delight them. Whether it's a coffee or their meal, or some places are going to do services. So we're going to surprise and delight the
Oh,
members.
that's brilliant.
And what we also do is it's an awareness thing. We
Of
let them
course.
know credit unions are out there. This is the money that's coming back in, and we are taking care of these businesses. And so it's really a fun thing. I was in a drive-through last year, and it was just fun to be up at when people would come up. I'd say, "Hey, we're paying for you." So
I
it's
love
kinda
it. Oh, very good. What else? That we
so
can
that's
stop
that
there.
Tuesday. So
yeah.
so we have Columbus Indigenous People Day on Monday. So we are not doing that day, and so the Tuesday is that's that day.
Mhm.
So
October 15th, mark your calendars.
yes,
That's when it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say social media, where are we going to be keeping an eye on all this fun activity?
So on our social media accounts, all of the credit unions, and I want to point out that we've got 4 credit unions here, and we mentioned 11.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the proper time to just run through the list to make sure that
Please
we wanna-
listen.
we
This
wanna
is
give-
all about making sure that everybody has all the information they
Yeah.
need about the folks that are involved in the good work that you're doing. So
Yeah.
please take a
And
moment
I
to
need
do
this
that.
as notes.
Yeah,
Because,
of
because I
course.
come from the time. So this is through 11 credit unions here in the Arizona area. We got Arizona Financial, Copper State, First Credit Union, Landings, 1AZ, True West Credit Union. Down in the Tucson area, we got Credit Union West, Hughes, Pima Federal, Tucson Federal, and Vantage West. And so it's paying attention to those social media accounts. that's where we're going to broadcast some of these efforts. So.
I love it. All right. What else? What's in store? Tell me maybe about the first day, Indigenous Day.
Holiday.
It's
so
a
yeah.
holiday.
Oh,
It's a federal
of
holiday.
course.
holiday.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought there was
Yeah,
like
it's a
something
federal
going on
holiday.
for that, but it is.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I
Yes.
misunderstood.
Yeah, and then on Wednesday is our it's not pay it forward, it's what is it? So we'll be out in our communities, partnering with local nonprofits, doing some events at these nonprofits, helping them with different projects. For example, we're going to be out at Wilson Community Center, so we're going to be helping them with some painting projects, installing a new dishwasher, just things that they need in the community. And out in Lake Havasu, we're going to be partnering with the local food bank, so helping them out there. So
So
all the
good.
credit unions have their own projects. So what are some other ones that you?
Feed My Starving Children is an obvious one.
And we were looking at some other options, I think,
Yeah.
to help out. But it's people helping people, and it's all about partnering with nonprofits. And all of our credit unions give back our service time, so it's been great to be able to spread that stuff out.
I love that. And for our listeners and viewers, if you have an idea, then at the end, of course, or in the show notes, we'll share how to stay in touch with these folks. And if not for this year, something in the future, if you're looking to partner or want to have an opportunity to celebrate a connection between a nonprofit and the credit unions, I'm sure that'd be welcome. So
Definitely.
good. I'm speaking on your behalf.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. So Tuesday and Wednesday, and then what else?
Thursday. So that's our social media. We're going to take that as International Credit Union Day, but also do a social media battle. So kind of follow all of our channels and see the different memes. We did that last year. It was really fun to get all the engagement from the different credit unions, but able to kind of follow along and see what we're posting about credit union awareness and also International Credit Union Day.
So fun. Any other states doing this that you're aware of? I mean, this collective?
So I mean, obviously, International Credit Union Days celebrate all over the world, but yeah, I don't know of any others that are picking it up like this. So hopefully, others will follow suit and
Yeah.
use this as an opportunity. But I think
Monica, you and I
pretty
have
unique.
talked about that this is really the first of its kind, it sounds like. And how neat would be for people to call and say, hey, how do we get this started in our state? Has that happened yet?
Not yet, but we definitely have accolades that we can share after that we've gotten from the first one. So we'll
Yeah,
definitely the
so
week.
good.
Yeah, it's been really exciting.
Arizona's on the forefront for some of those things, right? We've talked a handful of times about Local First Arizona. They are the largest coalition for businesses in the country. Arizona Technology Council has won several major awards for representing Arizona with the big tech and small tech connection between those locally owned businesses and the bigger firms. I'm very proud, of course, of being part of the state and the way in which we lead. I know State 48 is a big part of that too. People are watching what we're doing. Yeah. And of the week, what's going on there?
So last day, we're going to celebrate. We're all involved in financial education, especially youth financial education. The younger that we can teach our kids how to handle money, how to save, how to spend wisely, how to give. And so we're going to be celebrating that. We've got some more details that'll come out on that later, but we'll be here at a local school here in Tempe and celebrating with them. And so we're very excited about that day. That's going to be really, really cool. And we've got some great partners helping us on that one as well. So more details to come on that one.
Yeah.
But that's a fun day just to celebrate what we all do on that. And these credit unions here with us and that are involved do so much amazing work. And I think, once we figure out, as adults, as our kids or our community, how to handle money, it's going to help our community a whole lot better as they grow and enter the workforce.
I know this isn't necessarily why we're here today, but I would love to talk about financial literacy for a few minutes because it is so critical. I have two kids in their late 20s, one in 17 who's coming through one of our Tempe Union high schools. And as a single mom, and an independent business owner, I would love to tell you I'm a great example of financial security and financial intelligence. That's not the case. I'm learning as my kids are learning. So can we talk a little bit more about, from your perspective, professionally and personally, how important is financial literacy? Brian, you just mentioned that a little bit. And then also from your credit union perspective, are there other things that you do to help other schools and or families? Let's just talk a little bit about that so our listeners and viewers will really get a view on how not only how important it is, but also the roles that you play to help families become more fluent when it comes to financial wealth.
Yeah, I'll just start out with that. I'm as a father of four. I'm with you. I even run a credit union, and there's times where I'm like, I'm not sure I'm doing this right with my kids, and so we try to find that right way to teach them. But also we started as a schools credit union, so we've been involved with schools, and there's been more and more emphasis on even schools filling that role to say,
Yes.
hey, maybe we should help teach this early on. And so we've been called upon even through our school relationships to say, hey, can you help us? And even it's just having those conversations, which are difficult. I think there's so much information we know about our family, our best friends, but we don't talk about what we make. We don't talk about how much our bills are, how to manage that money. And so I think the more we can just say, hey, let's get this out in the open and talk about it, it's gonna be better. And then personally, and I think a lot of credit unions, we have partnerships with other businesses. We have a small business here, a locally owned business called My First Nest Egg, which is making great strides in providing financial education resources. They also have a very helpful app for families to use on how to budget, and it's kind of a digital chore chart. And so the earlier we can have these conversations, like I said, the better. And so I think between our efforts and what we're doing with our partners, it's going to be great.
Mhm.
I agree with Brian too. Starting early, I was like, I have two daughters, and my oldest is starting to make money on her own, and she's babysitting, but she wants to spend it on Starbucks. So you're like, but you really need to like start from the basics of saving some money, but then also putting it aside for the future, and then also giving back. So it's not just, okay, I've got $10. What are you going to do with this? So I think just having that from a personal side, but also you can never start too young and teaching your kids, and then also getting that awareness for financial literacy. It's so important for credit unions. We do have an online resource guide that you can find on our website, but then also we partner with Bonsai, and then we are able to go out into the schools and provide financial education, and we have certified coaches too through our programs at 1AZ.
And I'm sorry, what is bonsai?
Bonsai, it's a program that goes out to school outreach, and we're able to partner with schools all across Arizona, but then being able to provide the programs and resources that can help with financial literacy aid.
Curriculum available K-12 or what?
Correct. K through
Yeah,
12. Yep.
fantastic. Oh, we'll have to have you come back and talk about that with
We'd
them.
love to.
Yeah, and then this other My Nest Egg, is that what you call it?
My First Nest Egg.
My First Nest Egg.
Yeah.
Okay, that we've got another segment coming up so that
Yeah.
we can continue to have this conversation. Any other thoughts around financial literacy and the importance there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are great resources available. If you, reach out to your local credit union, I bet, you can find resources. Um, in our case, particularly, we go out into the community and provide financial resources to different organizations that may request it from us. We're also in the process of building out a new foundation that we'll be launching next year, and part of the mission will be financial education as well. And of course, we have resources on our website. We have this great guide for parents and grandparents on what to talk to your kids about at different ages, like what can they understand at
Mm.
age 3 or 4, some of those basic skills just to get them started. And then throughout as they age, we have different tips in terms of like what to talk about, which financial topics make sense. And it's great if you could start when they're 3 or 4, when they're first understanding, but really you can really at any point in their life, it's a great time to start talking about financial education and how to manage money.
Not when they're packing their bedroom or their suitcase to head off to college or to their first job, right?
Yeah,
Monica's talking about Starbucks, and my 17-year-old, although he's pretty savvy and he is working as his second job now, he's looking at $400 concert ticket.
It's like
Okay,
my boy.
right? Yeah, and
It's like,
and I'm all for it. And if you can make that happen, great. I'm not chipping in,
Yeah.
but go ahead and find a way to do that. But I want you to really see the difference and the discrepancy between having a entry level minimum wage job and how long it's going to take you to get that ticket and all the other responsibilities you have.
Yeah.
As
How
far
many
as
hours do I have to work to pay for
right.
these tickets?
And fortunately, he's doing that math. I'm pleased by
Oh,
that.
that's
And
good.
at the same time, our economy is kind of wonky right now, and prices keep going up, and our income not necessarily is keeping up as quickly. So these conversations are really important. And I always learn so much when you guys are here.
One thing that we do with True West is it started last year. It was mentioned last year, I think, that we do something called Bite of Reality. And the reality part is the reality. What it is basically with quite a few organizations we work with, including some community colleges here in the area, is we will go out and set up stations. Basically, there may be buy a home station, car station, family, utilities area. And what the individual does is on their phone, they get a little persona of basically,
That's
they
right.
could be in a bus driver job or a doctor job, a lawyer job, or, maintenance, something like that. They'll get that and they'll have their income. And then they'll go to these stations and they'll pick from, maybe I want a Mercedes, or I want an old used car, or something to that degree. And when they choose that, it starts taking the chunks off their budget. So when you talk about the reality of $400 tickets, the fun thing is, it's my favorite event to go out to, because we go out there and we'll sit behind it, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want to select that car?" He says, "Oh, my partner can drive that other car, the Peter or something like that." And it's always funny to look at them, because what they do is they go through that and then they realize that they've overspent. So they have to go back to the credit union station at the main area, and the credit union person will talk to them about what they just did. So then they reset it, and then they go back to you and they said, "Well, I can't do that. I've got to go get a lesser expensive car, or less utilities, or I can't afford a nice cell
Reality
phone."
hits.
Yep, that's why it's called Bite of Reality. It's just a fun event, because you can see this wide-eyed, 17-year-old or
Yeah.
21-year-old, and they're just like, "Oh, I did not realize what that is." And it's funny, because when you look and you realize, and a lot of schools are discovering this early on, that financial literacy is so important. It's life. You may not use U.S. history in your job, but I mean, finances are really a part of life. And a lot of schools are realizing that. They're reaching out to our credit unions,
Good.
to, like Bonsai, and they're supporting that effort. And so that's a great thing that we see as credit unions as very valuable. That's how we give back to the community also.
Mhm. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that. How can organizations get involved with AZ Credit Union Week specifically? Let's start there. What are you looking for support or involvement?
I think, I mean, it's neat to see Visa reach out, and when they're
Yeah.
aware of, and so when we get this word out, um, I've had businesses reach out to me, and some are not part of the credit union, some are, and we talk to them a little bit more about that. But I think it's an organic effort.
It has, and we're definitely like welcoming everyone. So like all credit unions that are interested, reach out to one of us, and
Mhm.
we'll get you set up for next year. And we want to grow this coalition. We want to make sure that we'll continue this on past year too. It started off as an experiment, but we really see that there is some benefit of working together and being able to build that awareness for credit unions. So we definitely will be back next year, and we have more time planning. So we started a lot earlier
Yes.
this year than we did with 60 days.
And the more you have come on board, the more help you have, hopefully, anyway. So, how can we talk about that for a moment for our viewers and listeners who are connected somehow to a credit union, either an employee or a C level executive? How do they get involved? Is it as easy as picking up the phone and or reaching out on LinkedIn? What's the first step, and what does that really mean to be involved in the coalition?
Yeah, I'd say contact any one of us they're involved with it, and yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. We're all on there, I think, and chat with us about how they can get involved. And we did a lot of outreach this time, and reached out to a few, and we're still missing a few. And so I'd say this is year 2 of the experiment. Expanded from 4 to 11, and we hope to maybe by next year have every credit union here in Arizona signed up and ready to go. So. Yeah, on top of that, just other local businesses. We've got our business lined up for Pay It Forward already. But if you're a local business that next year you want us coming hanging out there, reach out to us as well. And then I'd just say as well on Pay It Forward Day, if you're a local resident out here, like I said, we'll be out at different businesses. So maybe especially you should do it every day, but maybe that Tuesday especially, go check out your locally owned coffee shop or Mexican food restaurant there. So.
Oh, I love it. As far as the coalition goes, how often do you all meet, or do you really kind of, start gearing up for this particular week, or are there more activities that happen that are credit union involved outside of the planning for this week?
We meet monthly, so I'd say
Oh,
that we started I'm trying to remember this year, February maybe. It was early this year, so we definitely got a jump start. But we are always on Teams or Zoom, and so this is the first time we're actually able to all come together, which has been really special for us to be able to be in one room. But it's usually on virtual, and we're all like, "Hey, okay, this is what we're going to do today," and go through the agenda and essentially just building out what that's going to look like for AZCU week. So we do meet monthly, and now we're every other week. We're gearing up, so
yeah,
more
busy,
meetings.
busy. And on those Zoom meetings, you got the shirts right today. So well done.
Yeah.
Very good. Is there anything that I haven't thought to ask? Any statistics we want to share that you feel is important for our viewers and listeners to be aware of? What are the kind of our parting words that we might want to make sure we have a chance to speak to?
I think Mike should share about our accolades we got. I mean, it's not about the awards and the accolades, but it really just is a nice highlight of being able to work together and the collaboration and the cooperation that we've been having as this group, and then even expanding it of what that looks like. We're up for a pretty big award this year, and I know that Brian's going to hopefully be able to take that home for us in October. But if one of you guys
You
want to
know,
share
I
what
love
those.
that.
Usually, I mean, this is an awards program earlier this year among credit unions, and usually the awards are for individuals, credit unions, for different things that they have done. We submitted for a cooperative award, which wasn't even a category, and so putting down all the names for that was very interesting because they had an experience. They actually contacted me a couple times to figure out how to do this. And so it does, as we talked about earlier, this is something that is not really actively done. So what we did is we submitted that, and we did receive a top award for this that we did last year. Now this year we are again with a different. It's the Western Regional CUNA Cooperative,
Yeah.
and so that we're submitting that, and that's our hope to receive that.
I love that. And who is the awarding group? Who's the organization? That's
Well, the last year it was called CUNA, and now it's America's Credit Unions. They are named differently, so that was for last year.
I love
And
that.
And then this year,
Congratulations.
then we have a more regional association called the Go West Association. So, yeah, it's exciting to get the recognition.
And Monica said you're bringing that one home.
We hope so.
I'm
Brian's
hoping,
gonna be
yeah.
there, so we hope
Yeah.
that he lets us know that
3 or so weeks up in Denver. So hopefully,
Yeah. And it's again around this cooperative.
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So good.
So our other credit unions across the country are going to see what we're doing and hopefully
Yeah.
start something similar.
That's the
where they're
idea.
at, too. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what you see. I mean, that's what's cool is the four of us are together. We've got other credit unions out there, and we're on these calls. There are a few times that I've contacted Monica, not even about any of this in the last year, to say, "Hey, what are you guys doing over there?" And I think that's what you see. You don't see some of the big banks calling each other. "What are you guys doing? How can we, co-op?" And that's what credit unions are about. Is we are building this all together, and that inertia goes. Yes, we do compete on some different levels. But it really is trying to gain knowledge and understanding of what they're doing. We see something that you're doing that's really good for the community. How can we do that? And as we come together, it really is that shared momentum. So,
That's what business, I think, and life is all about, at least here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Great point. All right. So I would love to hear, if we could, since we have a little bit of time, from each of you career wise. Did you always know you were going to work for a credit union? I think, Brian, I think I asked you, you guys that last time, something along those lines. But would you take a moment just to share about your professional journey and what you love about this current position that you have right now? And anybody can start for us.
Everyone's looking at me. I'll start. I'm originally from Michigan, so I grew up born and raised in Detroit, went to Michigan State, go Spartans, and then came over here. So I worked at mostly advertising agencies, and I was, I think it's all about connections. So similar to where we are here and building those bridges and having the connections with everyone in this room, that's so important to have in your career too. And working at the different agencies, somebody went over to 1AZ and he was a VP of marketing. Michael, if you're listening, thanks for bringing me over. He actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and that's how I got into financial services. Had no background in it, and really been there for 6 years, and really enjoyed my journey. And I oversee corporate strategic alliances right now, so I get to work with so many business partners and community partners, and like Local First and other organizations we had mentioned earlier. So it's been a really joy to be able to be in the community.
And how long has 1AZ been around?
Since 1951, I might say we're the oldest credit union. Maybe.
Yeah.
By a couple years.
Maybe by a few years.
Yeah.
We're 73 years old.
We're
And Brian,
almost-
you said 70, right?
70. Yeah.
Arizona Financial is almost 90 years old.
Oh, okay.
1936.
Oh,
So-
gosh. Okay. So you're next in line to talk about your career and your trajectory. Thank you very much for that segue.
Yeah, I graduated from ASU, and I had, I just wanted to be in marketing and advertising, and there was a job opening at Arizona Financial at the time, and I worked there for a little over 3 years, and I left and worked for another credit union. So always been involved in advertising and marketing in the credit union industry. And then about 10 years ago, I came back to Arizona Federal. We're now Arizona Financial. So pretty much my whole time has been in credit unions. No, I did not plan this. I
Yeah.
just really wanted to work in marketing and advertising. And it was just a great opportunity and fell in love with it.
So good. Thank you for sharing. All right, you two.
I might have shared this last time. One of my favorite sayings I heard from someone once was, working in credit unions is like kind of showing up at Denny's at 2 a.m. You're not sure how you got there, but you're pretty excited about it.
I don't remember that, but very good.
Yeah, we've been there, but yeah, same thing. I'm born and raised here in Mesa, went to school at ASU, worked in public accounting. That was kind of my background, and then somehow kind of slid my way into the financial side of this. Worked as the CFO here at Landings Credit Union, and then was fortunate to take over the CEO role about almost 5 years ago now. So, place I'm sticking around in forever, and yeah, I love credit unions. It's a great place to be.
So good. Thank you.
And like our other marketing experts, I started out in marketing back in the day in advertising marketing with an agency. Went to health and benefits and a very large worldwide organization. The thing about worldwide organizations is you don't know those that you work with, really. And I thought that at that time, even went over in marketing can translate. So I went over to travel and tourism, and I was in there, but it still was not small enough. We were about 1,200 employees, and so I've looked back recently in my career and said, just getting to a more familial, smaller, where you can work with each other a lot better, kind of goes along with the community efforts that we do, and trying to work that way. Also, like a lot of service, I like to help people, and looking at the corporate structure is, a little tough. So when I saw the credit union, and I had been a credit union member, I've been a credit union for over 30 years now, show my age, but I always knew about the credit union, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, why would you go to a bank? Why, I always thought that. So when I came to True West over 8 years ago, I was like, this is where I want to be. This is a sweet spot. This is helping people. It's, working in marketing, which I always wanted to do anyway, but it really has turned out to be a nice, sweet spot, and I've really enjoyed it. And just being able to help others and seeing that effort, that's what you want on every day. So.
Agreed. Yeah. Make us feel proud and excited about the work we do and enjoy being around the people that we get to serve and work with. So good. Love it. All right. We are just about at the end of our segment today. Is there anything else that we ought to encourage our listeners and viewers to have them know about the Arizona Credit Union Week coming up?
Look for our website, azcuweek.com, but also follow us on LinkedIn and also on our social channels for all the 11 credit unions to learn more and see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hashtag AZCU Week. That's the hashtag.
Okay. And it's kind of a virtual week. However, virtual because you can keep track of what's going on social media. And you're also going to surprise us with being out in the community, being of service, celebrating business owners and folks and members and that sort of thing. So love the awareness and love that you've gone from 4 to 11 credit unions. I can't wait to have you back next year and have it more than double. Yeah. All right. Thanks again for being here. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live on the Mac 6 Entrepreneurial Center. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean credit unions. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.